Hello, students. Today we are starting life science, so it's the perfect day to ask you, how do you know if something is living? Now, I know this seems like a pretty obvious question at first, but you guys have been doing a card sort over the past couple of days and you know better. You've been looking at 30 some objects and you're trying to decide, is it living, non-living, or is it something else? Now, I have no doubt there are some items on that list that you are confident are living or you are confident are non-living. But I bet there are a handful of items on that list you're really unsure about. So this video is to help you figure out what really is the difference between living and non-living. There's actually a list of characteristics that are true about all living things. So if you look at an object and compare it to this list, well, if it matches the list and every item is true about that object, then you know it's a living thing. So let's get started with our list. The first item on our list is that all living things need water. Humans need water to survive, animals and plants do as well. If the object doesn't need water, it's not living, it's non-living. The second item on our list is that all living things need energy. Like humans, need food. Now, not every single living thing consumes food like we do. Some living things get energy in other ways. Like plants, get energy through a process called photosynthesis. Plants use energy from the sun to convert water and carbon dioxide into energy, and this energy is used to help the plant live. If the item does not need energy to survive, it's not a living thing. The third item on our list is that all living things need a suitable environment. In other words, they need a habitat that's just right. Do you guys know what this is a picture of? If you guess yeast, you are correct. Now, if you don't know what yeast is, it's an ingredient we use to make bread. Now, believe it or not, yeast is living, but only if it has a suitable environment. Yeast will only live in water that's just the right temperature. If it's too hot, if it's too cold, it can't live. It also needs a little bit of sugar in the water. If a living thing does not need a suitable environment, or if it's not in its suitable environment, then it's not a living thing. Now, let's keep talking about living things. Item number 4 on our list is that all living things give off waste. Now, we all know how animals and humans give off waste. I'm not going to talk about that. But let's talk about how something else gives off waste. Let's keep talking about yeast. When you feed sugar to yeast, it gives off waste in the form of carbon dioxide, or CO2, alcohol, heat, and energy. If the item doesn't give off waste, it doesn't produce waste, then it's not a living thing. The next thing on our list is that all living things need some type of gas exchange. Now, if you don't know what that means, a gas exchange is kind of like breathing. Now, how humans do this is we take in oxygen through our lungs. That oxygen then goes into our blood system, into our red blood cells, and then through our organs till eventually it exits our body as carbon dioxide. That's what gas exchange in humans looks like. Now, not all living things do gas exchange the same way, but all living things need gas exchange. The next item on our list is that all living things grow. Whether it's a tiny seed to a full-grown plant or a baby who grows into a human, all living things grow. If it doesn't grow, then it's not living. The seventh item on our list is that all living things reproduce. Now, whether that's a chicken having a baby chick, or whether that's a human having a baby, or whether that's a seed that gets planted and grows into a plant to then release seeds of its own to grow new plants. However it happens, all living things reproduce. If it doesn't reproduce, it's not living. And the final item on our list is that all living things respond to their environment. All living things will react to different stimuli in different ways. For example, when we're in a cold environment, humans react to their environment by getting goosebumps, and the hair on our arm raises. This is just one of the many ways humans respond to our environment, and all living things respond to their environment in some way. If the object doesn't respond to its environment, well, it's not a living thing. Now that you've learned the 8 characteristics of life, here's something important to know. In order for something to be an organism, in other words, a living thing, it must meet all of the 8 criteria. Even if an object meets 7 of the 8 and it's missing just one, it's not alive. It must meet all 8 to be considered a living thing. So my hope right now is that you're thinking back to that card sort activity. Listening to these 8 characteristics, hopefully you can use these to figure out if the objects in your card sort are living or non-living, or maybe something else. Now, our whole focus question in this video is, how do you know if something is living? Now, if I had asked you this question right from the beginning, I probably would have gotten ideas like this. I know it's living because it moves. I know it's living because it breathes, or I can just tell it's living just by looking at it. My hope with the rest of this video is to help us really understand what these 4 vocabulary words mean: living and non-living. We know that a living object is something that meets all 8 of those characteristics. But are we sure what non-living means? In fact, I'm going to throw out 2 more vocabulary words for you: dead and dormant. All objects are either living, non-living, dead, or dormant. What do you think these words mean? At the end of the video, I'll give you some definitions. But first, let's consider polyacrylite crystals. Now I know that's a bigger name, so let's put it more simply. Orbeez. Have any of you guys ever used the toy Orbeez before? You can see them pictured up here in this picture. Now, if you've used Orbeez before, you know that they're these tiny little plastic beads. But when you put them into water and let them sit for a while, magically they change into these squishy little beads. They definitely go through a change. Are Orbeez living? Let's look at the list of 8. Do Orbeez need water? Well, yeah, absolutely. If you leave them outside of water, they're just going to be little hard plastic bits, and it requires water to turn them into Orbeez. So I would say yes, it needs water. Do Orbeez need energy? Do they eat food? No. Do Orbeez need a suitable environment? Well, to become Orbeez, they have to be in water, so I guess they need a suitable environment to turn into Orbeez. Do they give off waste? No. Is there a gas exchange? No. Do Orbeez grow? Definitely. They start off very small and grow quite a bit in size. Do they reproduce? No. You're not all of a sudden going to have more Orbeez than you had before. Do Orbeez respond to their environment? Yes, they respond to water, but once they're Orbeez, do they actually do anything besides just sit there? No. So as you can see, Orbeez only met some of these 8 characteristics. So are they living? Orbeez are not living. They meet some, but not all of the characteristics. What about a tornado? Is a tornado living? Well, let's look at this list. A tornado definitely needs water. We learned in our natural hazard unit that tornadoes feed off of moisture. You're not going to have a tornado without water. Do tornadoes need energy? Do they eat? No, not really. Now, I know you may be thinking, well, a tornado could knock down a house and suck up all of those different things, but is it literally eating? I know in language arts class you learned about figurative language. Tornadoes figuratively are eating, but they're not literally consuming things for energy. So no, a tornado does not need energy. Does a tornado need a suitable environment? I guess you could say so. Tornadoes aren't going to form in the middle of the desert, they have to have just the right conditions. Do tornadoes give off waste? I know they make a whole lot of damage, but no, they don't create their own waste. Is there a gas exchange in a tornado? No. Do tornadoes grow? Well, I suppose in the sense that they can get bigger or smaller, I guess you could say they grow. Do tornadoes reproduce? No, one tornado's not going to have little baby tornadoes, so I guess we could say no there. Do they respond to their environment? Absolutely. If the environmental conditions are right, you get a tornado. So a tornado met some of those items on the list, but did it meet all of them? Definitely not. So that tells us a tornado is not living. Now, what about objects like an apple or an egg? Do they meet all of these 8 characteristics? What do you think? I'll leave that up to you to think that through. I told you earlier on in the video I would give you some definitions. A living object is something that meets all 8 of those characteristics. So what then do non-living, dead, and dormant mean? Let's look at these 3 options. Never was living, meaning it's not living now, it never was living at any point in history, and it's never going to be living. What about the next one? Living but inactive, meaning that it was once living and it has the potential to become living again if you put it in the right environment. And the last one, it was living once but is not living now. So at one point in history, yes, it was living, but it is no longer living, it's not going to live again. How would you match up these definitions? A, non-living, means it never was living. Living but inactive is dormant. If something was once living but it's removed from its suitable environment, like dry yeast out of water, would be dormant because it's inactive but has the potential to be living. Dead means it was once living but is not living anymore. Now there is a place in your student pages where it asks you to record the definition for non-living, dead, and dormant. This is where you get those definitions, and this is what you need to record in that space. I also want you to think back to those card sort activities. Are there any you want to change? Do you think your first predictions were wrong? Do you have a better idea now? And are there other objects in your environment around you that make you think, is this living, dead, dormant, or is it a living thing? These are the kind of questions I want you thinking about and answering through the rest of your activities.